Our today's topic is the methods of Vedanta. The methods of Vedanta. We have discussed the preliminaries of Vedanta. Now we shall proceed to discuss the philosophy itself. What is Vedanta philosophy? The methods by which the Vedantic teachers arrive at the truth, one of the most popular method is known as Adhyaropa and Apavada. Adhyaropa and Apavada. See, we are ignorant by birth. And for that, we see the Jagat, unreal Jagat, as real, unreal universe as real. And that is our problem, and we get attached with it because we believe that things will give me happiness. That is our main problem. But when a seeker, a student, an aspirant comes to the appropriate Vedantic teacher who has the traditional learning and whose guru has ordered to teach the people, if the aspirant comes to that teacher what does, deliberately superimpose something. Our problem is the superimposition. We grant as real the superimposed thing. But our teacher does another deliberate superimposition on us. This is called Adhyaropa. Like when after a lot of playing, suppose in the rainy season, the ground are full of slush and mud, and children, even the grown-up boys also love to play football, and the whole body is mudded. And when he or she comes back home, returns back home, what their mother does, what their mother does, their mother pour water first, rub properly, and then understands that, oh, it's not the work of only water. Then mother takes a soap and try to rub soap on the baby. This is called Adhyaropa. When our ignorance, how much our teacher will deliberately superimpose on us, it totally depends on our level of ignorance. And that I don't know or we don't know, only our teacher knows. So that things, that soaping on the dirt is called Adhyaropa. Adhyaropa denotes the illusory superimposition but deliberate superimposition by teacher through ignorance, on account of which one thing is perceived as another. One thing is perceived as another, and the properties of one are attributed to another, isn't it? Thus, through Adhyaropa, a rope appears to be a snake and to possess the characteristics of a snake, or the stump of a tree in semi-darkness to be a man, a post, light post on the street appears as ghost. Vedantists also give the illustrations of the desert, which in the case of a mirage appears to contain water, and of shells scattered on the beach, which on a moonlit night are mistaken for pieces of silver, Rajatakhanda. In the same manner, Vedanta contains the attributes of the non-self or anatma are falsely superimposed upon the self or atma. आत्मा के ऊपर अनात्मा की अध्यास. This is how the self, which is eternal, immoral, ever pure, beyond, beyond time and space and causation, untouched by the law of causation, you can tell, and of the nature of pure consciousness, appears as a jiva or phenomenal being, a physical entity subject to hunger and thirst, disease and death, and the other limitations of the relative world. Through the same inscrutable ignorance, the attributes of the self are superimposed upon the non-self. Thus, consciousness, intelligence, bliss, and such other characteristics which really belong to the self are falsely attributed to the non-self, comprising the body, the senses, and the mind, all of which are by nature unconscious and inert. Because of this adhyaropa, again, one regards the real as unreal and the unreal as real. Thus, Brahman, the pure consciousness, appears to the ignorant as the universe of multiple names and forms, and also as the individual soul. All men and women, everyone, one way or another, are victims of this peculiar and inexplicable illusion. Their thoughts and actions in the relative world are colored and determined by it. Now the next process is apavad. How is it? It is Ambani's or Adani's house. The babies use some foreign made, very costly soap. And in the village of Bakura, Vardhaman, Midnapur, in the poor's house, mom the mother used some very cheap soap to remove the darts. But the thing to be pointed over here, the soap may be how much costly it is. We don't keep it on the body. We wash it. Apavada is negation or the elimination through discrimination or falsely superimposed attributes in order to discover the true nature of a thing. Thus, by negating the attributes of the illusory water in a mirage, one discovers the true nature of the desert or desert. By negating the attributes of the illusory snake, the true nature of the rope, by negating the attributes of the illusory man, the true nature of the stamp, by negating the attributes of the illusory ghost of the post, by negating the attributes of the illusory silver, the true nature of the shells, in a like manner, by negating through discrimination the attributes of the non-self, one discovers the true nature of the self or Atma. And by negating the attributes of the relative world, the true nature of Brahman. It is very important to remember that the attributes falsely superimposed upon a thing do not really belong to it and cannot in the least affect its nature. Thus, the illusory water of a mirage cannot soak a single grain of sand in the desert. It can't drench the desert. The illusory snake cannot impart its poison and terror to harmless rope. The illusory man cannot give the spark of life to the lifeless stump. The illusory silver cannot make a worthless shell valuable. Likewise, such superimposed attributes as birth and death, hunger and thirst, pain and pleasure cannot change by any means whatsoever the true nature of the self, which is existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute. Reality is never affected by appearance. Reality is never affected by appearance.